there, my champions. As always, as a great man once told me, if you're going to sell yourself, you have to champion something. And today, we're going to champion change. There is a book called Who Moved My Cheese? In this book, there are 4 characters, 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, and 2 men the size of mice, Hem and Haw. They all live in a maze, and they all love cheese. To Hem and Haw, cheese meant what made them feel good. Cheese symbolized what they wanted in life. Every day, they would put on their running shoes and run out into the maze where they knew the cheese was. We'll call it Cheese Station A. But one day, the cheese disappears. Sniff and Scurry quickly run into the maze to go find new cheese. Hem and Haw, though, get upset. They spend their time complaining, hoping things will change back, and that the old cheese will return. Haw suggested that they go look for new cheese, but Hem talked him into focusing on what he would be losing as opposed to gaining something better. Even though there wasn't even any cheese left, and they weren't happy there. Haw realizes the old cheese just isn't going to come back, so he decides to set out into the maze to find new cheese. But Hem doesn't want to go. He's afraid of the unknown and comfortable at Cheese Station A. So Haw must leave him behind. As Haw ran through the maze, he wrote on the walls thoughts that passed through his head in hopes that if Hem were to pass them, they might help him too. The first thought was, what would you do if you weren't afraid? The next thought was, smell the cheese often, so you know when it's getting old. This means evaluate your situation regularly, so you know when it's starting to go the wrong direction. The next message was, when you stop being afraid, you start feeling good. The message after that was, imagining yourself enjoying new cheese leads you to it. This is speaking to the practice of envisioning. So if you keep what you want in the front of your mind, then your actions will follow suit. Like how if you're trying to save money. If you are keeping that goal in the front of your mind, then you won't buy that impulse buy. And you'll feel good when you put that money aside because you see yourself actively working towards that goal. Then Haw found Cheese Station E, but it was for the most part empty with only a couple of scraps around. But Haw kept his head right. He didn't get angry or frustrated. He instead coached himself and told himself to let this be a lesson to not let others hold you back. Because if he had left earlier and changed sooner, he would have found a lot of new cheese. He picked up the scraps and took them back to Hem. Hem looked awful. He had spent the whole time stressing over not having cheese, but not doing anything to change his situation. Still, Hem did not want new cheese. He wanted his old cheese. He didn't want to change. Haw then realized that his friend's negative thoughts robbed him of his confidence to change, and Haw didn't want that for himself. He also remembered how happy he was when he was away from such thinking, so he went back out into the maze. As Haw was back out in the maze looking for cheese, he had another thought. When you change what you believe, you change what you do. It was at this point Haw was able to let go of the past and was adapting to the present. He could now see his vision as sensible. It was now not just a goal, but a realistic outcome that he was actively pursuing. He now knew he was doing what was right. Finding his cheese was going to happen. The only way it wouldn't happen would be if he stopped looking for it. That's the only way you fail, is if you stop trying. Because if you're still trying, then you're still trying. Maybe you haven't succeeded big picture yet, but you haven't failed either, because you're still trying. And every day you haven't failed, you've definitely won a little bit. And then he found it. He found the cheese. But do you know where? Cheese Station J. So that's twice as far as Cheese Station E, where he found the scraps. And yeah, that's twice as far. But when he found it, he was able to enjoy new cheese and be able to take all that he had learned to continue to grow in other ways. Change is going to happen. It's going to happen in life. It's going to happen in your day-to-day. Sometimes it just happens, and sometimes you want it to happen. Either way, it's hard to deal with if you don't know how. So, let's review what Ha learned. Evaluate your situation regularly to make sure you're staying on track. When you stop being afraid, you start feeling good. Imagining yourself enjoying what you want will lead you to it. You have to leave behind negative people or be held behind by them. When you change what you believe, you change what you do. When you learn something new, you change what you know. Ha changed what he knew, which made him able to give himself more empowering beliefs. This makes all the difference, because the real changing point is when you change what you believe. And remember, at First Diversity Staffing, we believe in second chances, and we believe in you.
Everybody should have an opportunity to have that second chance. And what we do is, through the interview process to getting on closer on a one-to-one basis in an interview, it's just not a regular interview, but trying to find out what the individual being interviewed, the interviewee, is all about. Trying to find out that person, what makes that person tick and why they left jobs and why they need a second chance. If you find out why they need a second chance and you get honest answers, you're going to give that person a second chance. Not only you, but the employer will. By getting to know the person, it's just not what's your name, where you live, kind of thing, what did you do before. That's in and out. That's just bringing cattle in and cattle out. But if you treat somebody with respect, regardless of where they've been, and you're going to give a second chance, yeah, that goes a long way.
Okay, everybody, so now we are moving on to Q&A with Jasmine.
Hey guys.
So what questions do you have for me for change?
So I want to know, what have you learned most about change?
That it always takes you out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And you have to be prepared for that. And it's okay. Getting outside of your comfort zone is a part of growing. It's a challenge. And sometimes people are uncomfortable just with the idea of a challenge. They don't want to seem nervous. Mm-hmm. They don't want to seem like maybe they're unprepared or something. But it's okay. And it's just part of, moving up when you're upgrading yourself or your situation. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to be open about it also. When you go outside of your comfort zone, and you do it and you make it and you're like, I'm going to try. Mm-hmm. People who are also in the situation around you, they will appreciate your effort. Mm. And if it's just you internally dealing with something having to do with change, when you get through it and you didn't die and nothing exploded, then you'll appreciate your efforts too.
Cool. So how do you adapt to change?
I adapt to change by staying flexible. I kind of go into everything with knowing that I don't know how it's going to go or what's going to come up or what anything is going to be. When you learn to stop expecting, then you're more open to change as a whole, and then it's not so abrasive, and then you can just kind of keep moving with the flow.
Going with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what should other people know about change?
And sometimes people are uncomfortable just with the idea of a challenge. They don't want to seem nervous. They don't want to seem like maybe they're unprepared or something, but it's okay. And it's just part of, moving up when you're upgrading yourself or your situation. So it's okay to be open about it also. When you go outside of your comfort zone and you do it and you make it and you're like, I'm going to try. People who are also in the situation around you, they will appreciate your effort. And if it's just you internally dealing with something having to do with change, when you get through it and you didn't die and nothing exploded, then you'll appreciate your efforts too.
Cool. So how do you adapt to change?
I think people should know that change is necessary. I think they should know that it is inevitable. Nothing ever stays the same, and it's a good thing. Change is opportunity, and even if it feels like it's a couple steps back, then you adapt and you reassess and you adjust and you keep moving forward. But it's always going to be there, and it's always going to keep coming, and so when you really understand that change is inevitable, then you are prepared, and you're less likely to dig your heels in and to make it even harder than it has to be.
That makes sense.
What do you tell someone if they say, I don't think I can?
Hey, lift them up. If someone gives up even before they started, that's not going to help me. That's not going to help them, basically. So you lift people up. You encourage people. You find something in them when you're talking to them that you can pull out. You find out what they're good at. Because everybody's good at something. We're all bad at something too, but we're all good at something. You'll have to find that out. It's my job then to find that out. What is it that will make you tick? What is it that you like? Even a question is, what kind of music do you hear? I mean, what makes you happy? Everybody has it inside. When someone says, well, I can't do that, or I can't get there, no, they're wrong. You tell them that they're wrong. They can't get there. Do you want to get there is the question.